Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're checking out one of my favorite Bluetooth speakers. I'm talking about the portable Soundcore Flare 2. But before we jump into all the details on this guy, if you don't know who I am, my name is JDubb, and I'm here to help you guys make a better tech buying decision. Now, if that sounds cool to you, please consider subscribing to the channel, and if you do, hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of my latest reviews. Now, with that said, let's check it out. Now, before we get started, really quickly, if you don't know anything about Soundcore audio, let me just start off by saying this. They make some of my favorite audio products. Now, I've reviewed headphones, earbuds, and speakers from them. They're part of the Anker brand, so I've also reviewed chargers and power banks from them. There's all sorts of things that they make, but what they make is really high quality products. And this is no exception. The Flare 2 is one of my favorite little Bluetooth speakers for a lot of different reasons, which we'll get to in just a minute. So now let's talk about quickly the design of the Flare 2, because that is one of my favorite parts, is just the style of the speaker. Now, obviously, as you might imagine, it's flared at the bottom, right? So it's skinnier at the top and it's wider at the bottom, and it's called the Flare. It's Flare 2, okay? On the outside, you've got this mesh that kind of resembles that speaker. It's a cloth material, which is really nice, and it's actually separated from the speaker itself when you get it wet, because this is water resistant. When you get this guy wet, you kind of notice that the water sits between. So it's a layer on the outside, and then you got the speakers on the inside. It gives you 360-degree sound all the way around, which is really nice. Being that it is flared out on the bottom, gives you that wider base for stability, right? So if it's on a flat surface, obviously you've got two LED colored rings around the outside, which are customizable with the app, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. You got a rubberized base on the bottom, so it's kind of anti-slip. On the top, you've got another kind of rubberized platform here, but this is where all the buttons and controls are. So you've got all your controls, which we'll break down here shortly as well. And then on the back, you've got your your bass up button, your Bluetooth pairing button, and your charging port under the little rubberized door. But design-wise, it's just a really clean looking speaker. Now, when it sits on a platform like this, I'll see if you can see it here. The nice little rim light comes up along here and kind of casts this really nice, pretty light along the bottom. And then this just kind of, especially in a darker space, the lighting patterns are very, very cool looking because of the way that they kind of just radiate from this device. So overall, design-wise, feels very solid. It feels like it's just well built, right? It doesn't feel like a piece of junk, which is great. But that's what Soundcore is known for. So they make cool stuff, but overall, the design, really, really slick. So now let's talk about some of the features of this speaker. Right off the bat, we just want to mention you get 12 hours of battery life on a single charge. So this thing is great. If you're headed out for a day at the beach or on the lake, or you're gonna go do something, you wanna take this little speaker with you, you get this guy charged up the night before, you head out the door, you get 12 hours of playback time. So this is gonna get you through the whole day and into the night. So fantastic battery life for such a small speaker. You have 360-degree sound. So this guy is gonna have sound pumping from every angle on this guy. So what you want to do with this is basically, instead of putting it in the corner where a lot of people put their speakers, this one's great for a kind of party scenes when you're at the house, things like that. You just put this in the middle of the table and it just fills the whole room with sound. So it's really, really nice. You got sound coming from all directions. Really good for beaches. I've tested this multiple times at the beach and it's great. It really casts the sound in every direction, which is fantastic. On top of that, they're beat sensing rings. And so basically the app in here, and these guys are sensing the audio signals, and they can actually do some cool lighting effects based on the music that you're listening to, which is really cool. Another big feature of these guys is you can actually link 100 of them together. So they have a really cool technology in here where you're allowed to just Bluetooth connect multiple speakers, so you can chain them together over and over. So if you get two of these and you want to have sound in multiple rooms, you can link them together. You hit play one time from one device and you're going to get sound coming out of all of them at the same time. So that's another really cool feature of these speakers here. On these guys, you're looking at an IPX7 rating. So now I did a little test with this. I dunked it in my pool, pulled it out, and it worked perfectly fine. So I fully submerged this guy and it works perfectly to this day. Nothing is wrong with it whatsoever. So water resistancy, IPX7 rating is also absolutely fantastic. So then the big question there is, how does it sound, right? That's the biggest, that's what we're all really here to talk about. How does it sound? Now, keep in mind, this is a portable speaker, right? So you're gonna think off the bat, sound's gonna be just okay, right? It's not gonna be the biggest speaker. It doesn't have the largest drivers. It doesn't have a bass, a main speaker and a tweeter. It doesn't have all that kind of stuff. But what it does do is it does put off a powerful sound for its size. I would say in its size class, it's probably one of the loudest speakers that I've had. But loudness, in my opinion, a lot of people want to associate loud with quality, right? When it comes to these types of speakers. And in my opinion, that's completely wrong. When it truly sounds good, it's hitting on all of those notes. You're getting the mids, the lows, and the highs kind of all represented. And the Flare 2 does a really good job. Now, keep in mind, it is on the bass heavier side, right? They do have a bass up option. You can turn this off. So depending on the genre of music is gonna help you get a little bit of a cleaner sound on the mids and the highs, which is awesome. So you have that option here. You have the ability to do that with this speaker. So that takes it and makes it a much more versatile speaker other than just kind of this booming bass blasting little miniature speaker. So overall, in my opinion, this is one of the better sounding speakers in this compact size, both in volume and in overall quality. So the next thing I'll talk about is the app, right? Because the Soundcore app is still, to this day, one of the best companion apps that I found for iOS and Android when it comes to audio products. Now, not all of their products are yet supported, but the Flare 2 luckily is one of them. Now, from this app, you get to do a lot of different things. You can control your volume, play and pause. You can actually adjust the equalizer. There's a few different ones. There's default, there's voice, there's chill, there's flat. You can turn on and off the extra bass boost, which is great. On top of that, you can also change the lighting effects. Now, that is where this speaker is pretty darn cool. So let me put it right here and I'll show you. So you can do party time, which gives you this full rainbow spectrum of colors. You can do raising beats or phasing beats, which kind of gives you a little bit of a different look there. There's the circle beam, which gives you just a nice, cool looking around this. It swirls the drain there. So a lot of different cool things that you can do with this app that allows you to customize how this speaker looks and how it functions when you're listening to your music. So at the end of the day, guys, the Soundcore Flare 2 will run you about $69.99 on Amazon at the time of making this video. So do I think it's worth it, right? That's the question that we have to decide. And when I lay everything out in front of me, we got IPX7, we got amazing 360-degree sound, we've got awesome aesthetics, great build quality, IPX7 water resistance rating, pretty darn good sound from a portable speaker. It's doing the job right. 12 hours of battery life. I mean, at the end of the day, I would say that's probably the only thing that I would love to see increased a little bit more, right? It's already a fairly heavy speaker, but for 70 bucks, if I wanted to get two of these, link them together. If I went to a party and somebody else has got one of these, I can link them together. There's so many feature things. And then you throw in the app, which gives you the control over the audio quality and the lighting controls. There's a lot going on here. And I feel like $70 is a pretty good value overall when you're talking about a speaker that comes in at this small of a form factor. But guys, as usual, I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Do you think the Soundcore Flare 2 is worth 70 bucks? Do you have one? Maybe you're thinking about getting one. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up down in the comment section below. And as usual, guys, the link to this will be in the description below so you can check out the current pricing as it is on Amazon. But guys, as usual, that is it for me, and I will see you in the next review.